Max Verstappen isn't just the fastest man on the grid right now, he's also one of the most powerful. Over the years, Red Bull hasn't only built a car around his driving style, they've built an entire structure to keep him happy, in control, and at the center of every big decision. From who sits in the other car, to how the team responds to internal pressure, Verstappen's influence is clear. He isn't just Red Bull's lead driver, he's their entire project. But what happens if he decides to walk away? What happens if he gives up all that power for a silver car and a fresh start at Mercedes? The rumors have been building, especially after Bahrain. Red Bull didn't look like the unbeatable force they were last year. McLaren has found real pace, Mercedes showed surprising strength, and Verstappen himself finished a disappointing sixth. Meanwhile, George Russell took second in a Mercedes that was struggling with electrical issues. The balance of power is shifting, and Verstappen, known for chasing performance above all else, might be looking at his options. There are exit clauses in his contract. That's been confirmed. If Red Bull's performance drops or certain key personnel leave the team, Verstappen has a way out. And that's what has people talking, because when Helmut Marko starts sounding worried about Max's future, something serious is happening behind the scenes. Marko recently admitted, "We have great concerns Max might leave." That's not a minor statement, that's a red flag from inside the camp. But moving to Mercedes is not as simple as switching teams and showing up to win. At Red Bull, Max has been given the keys to the kingdom. He influences strategy, car development, and even plays a role in who gets to be his teammate. Just look at the track record. Daniel Ricciardo left because he saw where the team was heading. Pierre Gasly didn't last long. Alex Albon was thrown in and then thrown out. Sergio Perez survived longer, but even he couldn't escape the pressure of driving next to Max. Most recently, Liam Lawson was dropped after just 2 races as Red Bull tested Yuki Tsunoda in a possible promotion move. Everything and everyone revolves around Max. Red Bull has designed a system where Max never needs to adjust. The car suits him, the team adapts to his style. His engineer, his support crew, the strategy team, they're all focused on maximizing Verstappen's performance. That's not the reality at Mercedes. At Mercedes, it's different. Toto Wolff has made it clear that the team is bigger than any one driver. He's open to bringing in Verstappen, but that doesn't mean Max gets to run the show. George Russell is firmly established in the team. He's been delivering consistent results, including multiple podiums in the first few races of the season. He finished second in Bahrain, even with car issues. Toto has backed Russell from the start, and that loyalty means something. And then there's Kimi Antonelli, the young talent that Mercedes has invested heavily in. He's not just a backup option or a future plan. He's a driver Mercedes is building around for the long term. If Verstappen moves to Mercedes, there's no guarantee he'll get to choose who stays and who goes. The team might see a Verstappen-Antonelli lineup as the best way to move forward into the 2026 regulation changes, even if it means pushing Russell out. But again, that's not Verstappen's decision. At Red Bull, he's used to having that kind of power. At Mercedes, he won't. Sky F1 analyst Karun Chandok pointed out a critical detail that many are missing. At Red Bull, Verstappen probably has some say in who drives the second car. At Mercedes, he won't. That's a big deal, because Max isn't just racing to win, he's racing to dominate. And domination is easier when the team is completely built around you. At Mercedes, he might have to share the spotlight. He might have to adjust his approach. That's not something he's had to do in years. Martin Brundle added another layer to the conversation by suggesting that if Verstappen becomes available, George Russell should be worried. Not because he's underperforming, but because the opportunity to pair Verstappen with Antonelli might be too tempting for Mercedes to pass up. It's a pairing they can promote, market and build around for years. But again, that means Verstappen walks into a team that has its own plans, not a team built solely around him. So here's the real question. Does Verstappen want to stay in a place where he's the king? Or is he willing to start fresh in a team where he's just another piece of the puzzle? Because that's the trade-off. At Red Bull, he controls the environment. At Mercedes, he might be faster in the long run, especially with the 2026 power unit changes. But he won't be in charge. It's a difficult decision. On one hand, Verstappen could remain at Red Bull, where he knows everyone, has full support, and continues to shape the future of the car. Even if Red Bull struggles for a few races, the long-term success is still within reach if they regroup. On the other hand, if Red Bull starts falling apart, if Adrian Newey leaves, if internal politics create chaos, or if McLaren and Mercedes outpace them, then Verstappen might decide he doesn't want to waste his peak years in a team that's falling behind. But the risk is huge. If he goes to Mercedes and doesn't instantly become the #1 driver, or if Antonelli rises faster than expected, Verstappen might find himself fighting not just rivals from other teams, but also inside his own garage. That kind of internal battle is exhausting and can derail even the best careers. Verstappen has already achieved a lot in Formula One: multiple championships, record-breaking wins, and dominant seasons. Now it's about legacy. Does he want to stay where he's safe and powerful, or test himself in a new environment with less control but possibly greater rewards? The move to Mercedes might look tempting on the surface. Strong team, fast car, long-term potential, but the details matter. Control, influence, and support are not guaranteed. At Red Bull, he has all of that already. So as the season unfolds and Red Bull tries to regain its form, Verstappen will have to decide what matters most to him: staying where he's in charge or chasing something new with fewer guarantees. Because if he leaves Red Bull, he might gain speed, but lose the advantage